So, Stefan, we're here at the ICCE Berlin. We're getting near the end of it. Were you pleased with the results?
Yes, I think this year was another major milestone, as I said at the opening, with the growth in this conference and with the increased awareness of the presence of this conference by the international community. I've called this now our European flagship conference. And now that sort of makes a statement that this is a very significant, important location and important event in the annual Consumer Electronics Society community.
Well, I think you were actually involved in getting this conference started 4 years ago, because you've been advocating a lot of conferences for the Consumer Electronics Society. So are you pleased with the results?
Yes, I'm very pleased. I think when we first started, we didn't know what to expect coming to Europe, but we sort of had a void, a vacuum here in Europe with sort of not a real presence. And by bringing this conference here, particularly with the IFA, I've heard when I first started this conference, there were comments made about it's a good co-location with the IFA because you kill two birds in one. And actually even today, one of the participants came to me and said what he likes about our conference is it's economical to come here. And for example, IFA registration is 47 euros per day. And coming to our conference, he gets that included in the registration.
So you like that.
So they like that, you know, and then also the content of the conference is very well received. And Europe has always been sort of a fortress of consumer electronics development and conceptual developments and so on. So I think it's very important to have a presence here. And if we look at the growth that we're producing in our conference, it's been a definite milestone, a definite step upwards. It's a sort of a quantum leap for our little conference. Before, they were surprised we had it, they were pleased we had it, and now the growth has just gone a step better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's in its fourth year, so it's been, every year it's been a little bit bigger, I think. So what's the plans for next year?
Okay, for next year, we are actually planning another quantum step, because we've had a few people from other societies attend here, senior people, and they sort of were very impressed with what's happening and the way consumer electronics is changing more in the health area. It's a big growth for us. So next year we're going to make it a theme of having consumer health care, and we're combining with other IEEE societies. We're joining with the life science community, and that should be very, very interesting. And we're going to probably see if we can also add a dimension of starting to think of what our devices do on a social level. What's the social implication of our devices, which we haven't really considered yet. And so we're going to see if we can integrate that into our conference as well. So I think next year is going to be a milestone of growth. We're going to look more at what you used to like to do, future directions. Yeah, and looking at the healthcare and future directions is going to be, I think, a major driving stone for the conference for next year. So I expect big results.
Okay. Well, so are you going to stay involved with the conferences then?
I absolutely will.
After your term is done?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I think, yes. It's an interesting conference, and when you get involved in it, I've been working on it for 4 years actively, and I think when it gets to the next milestone, it would be very nice to be with it.
Good. I think we'd welcome you've always had a lot of enthusiasm for the conferences and stuff. You've done a good job, and I think raising us to another level there.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tom.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the show here? And do you think the organizers did a good job?
I think the team was excellent. They really worked hard, and they've raised the bar again. I think the IFA is also an excellent show to be with, and I'm very pleased with the collaboration we have with both the IFA people, and the VDE, because without either or, we would not be able to host this event, especially not as successful as we have done here, and wouldn't have the impact that it has on the consumer electronics community as a whole. I'm not talking about a society or IEEE, I'm talking about the community globally. And it's interesting to see this year that we have attendees from far around the world, South America, Asia, you know. So it's a truly international event.
I heard we had 36 countries or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. You know, the input from Europe is also very strong. So I think coming here originally 4 years ago was a good decision. It was not just my decision. It's a team effort, right? And I think our team in the Consumer Electronics Society, including you, have really contributed lots to making this a successful event.
Yes.
So thank you to all.
Oh, you're welcome. And none of these things could be done by one person in isolation. So, yeah. Well, thank you, Stefan. It's a pleasure talking with you. And so we have a few more conferences before the end of the year, I think, right?
That's correct, yeah. And there are going to be exciting events as well. We're moving to Japan, and Japan has been a very interesting place for us. The attendance at our keynotes, we're talking about attendances of about 1,000 people to the different physical location of the conference, the way that the conference is laid out, where keynotes are open to the public. And there's a lot of interest, and we had it over the years. Well, this is the third year in Japan. The last 2 years, we've had a few keynotes where we had to shut the doors because there was no more space. Yeah, and I think that speaks a lot for the quality and the content, the relevance of it. And I think also by having these geographically distributed conferences that are coming up at the end of the year, we have the opportunity to meet local needs, because although we're a consumer electronics community, different parts of the world have different strengths. And if we can cater to their strengths and make it relevant, I think that's an interesting effect. And Japan has always had a long tradition of consumer electronics, and our Japan conference has been very successful in that too. In the two events, in size, it's challenging Las Vegas. So that says a lot.
Okay. Well, thank you, Stefan.